What's up, everyone? Tyler Fountain here, and if you love winning, you're going to love who I have here with me today. She's finished third in the GAC twice, second in the GAC 3 times, and first in the GAC 3 times as well. Women's basketball head coach, Kelsi Musick. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for asking. Now, Coach, I want to jump right into it. Winning, what exactly does it mean to you? And I ask that simply because you've been to 4 NCAA tournament appearances and 4 GAC championships. So could you just tell me what winning means to you?
You know, it's definitely a process, but I think, being able to build the tradition in which we are able to have right now here at SWOSU for women's basketball, winning means a lot. That's the level that we wanted to get to. When I first started out, we didn't win very much, and we wanted winning to be just what we do and what we expect. And I think that we've kind of got to that point. But I think you also, when we first got here, I had to teach them how to win because they didn't fully believe it. Everyone wants to win, but you also have to teach kids how to win. And we've been able to do that and establish this program.
Okay. And winning, Coach, me personally, I feel like when it comes to winning, you're always looking to get better as a person, as a winner, as a competitor. Are there any new remedies or solutions that you have for this upcoming season to continue that winning tradition?
Just making tweaks. I think the one thing when I first started out, I was a little bit stubborn as a coach, and now I'm willing to, I love watching film. To me, it's a competition versus the other coach. It's not just a competition of my team versus the other team. So, I take it personal, and of course I want to win. I want to try to think that I can come out game plan or outsmart and then prepare my players to elevate their game and play at the level in which we need them to for us to be successful.
Yes, ma'am. Now, when you say stubborn as a coach, could you just elaborate on what you mean by that?
Sometimes I feel like I was a little bit stubborn. I wouldn't make changes, and sometimes I still am. For instance, the other day we were playing Pitt State. We got down, and most coaches would have called a timeout when they got down 6-0, and I don't. I think that my players also have to learn how to play through things. So I'm still a little bit stubborn in a sense, but I guess sometimes my stubbornness is a blessing and a curse.
Yes, ma'am. Now, you've been GAC Coach of the Year 4 times, year 2011 through 2013, and then we fast forward years 2017 through 2019, both times being back-to-back. What is that feeling like? How does that make you feel?
It's a good feeling because my peers vote on me. The other coaches have to make those votes and choices. But I think it's a direct reflection of my team. If it wasn't for my team, I could never be Coach of the Year. So I like to give them all of the credit and all of the blessings.
Okay. Now, Coach, you've been on both ends of the stick in games, some fortunate, some unfortunate. We go back to the semifinals. Beer hits the game-winning 3, gives you guys the win, 75-72. Then we go to the national championship later on, and the game could have went either way in double overtime. So when it comes to games like that, nail-biters, close games with special meaning behind them, how does that feel as a coach? Could you just walk me through that feeling?
It's intense. If you go back and you watch the Tabor Beer shot, just to see everyone's reaction. That's one thing I love. When we go back and watch film, I love to watch the reaction. Obviously, we're learning as we watch game film, but there are moments where we'll stop and we'll just watch the bench 5 times just to see everyone's reaction because it's just so intense and meaningful in that moment. That was definitely the deepest squat I have ever been in my entire life when Tabor Beer hit that shot. But it's also the feeling for my players. I couldn't be more proud because prior to that shot, what people don't realize is Tabor Beer was in the gym shooting every single day after practice. So she was preparing for that moment before it ever came. And those are the things that I think that I take the most from and just helping them prepare because it's just I like to compare a lot to life. Sports teach you a lot about life. And they have to prepare for a big test. They have to prepare for their future. But Tabor Beer prepared for that shot when no one else was watching her.
Wow. And, Coach, every player you have is talented. You have players that bring different things to the team. They play different roles. And then you have a player like Bethany Franks who's dominant on defense, good at rebounding. And then you tag that along with Tyra Asker, who's a dominant offensive player and scrappy on defense as well. Where do you feel like your strong suit will be this season, offense or defense? And then you also have Tabor Beer, who's a floor general out there on the court. So what do you feel like your strong suit will be?
I think we are going to be faster. So I honestly feel like my defense has the opportunity to be even better. Obviously, losing Haley Tucker, we're losing a little bit of some shot blocking and just her length, but overall our speed is going to be better, and so I think that that's definitely going to help our chaos. The other thing is I think so many people keyed in on just Haley and Hayden last year and expected them to get all these points. I think now I have so many kids that can score that each and every night I'm going to have the opportunity to have a different leading scorer, and I feel like that's going to be really hard for teams to guard.
Okay, and when you lose players like Haley and is it Hayden? Knowing that you can't just replace scores like that, is the offensive strategy any different?
No, because I feel like I've prepared these young players for their moment. We run a system, and so my goals and philosophies are to grow them within the system and to where they get ready to seize their moment. And players like Tabor Beer and Maddie Spurley, they have been growing in this system, and they've kind of had to be in the shadows for a little bit, but now it's their moment to shine. And, I always say that I don't want to just rebuild. I mean, I might have lost 2 All-Americans, but I feel like I reloaded. Right. And that's our philosophy. We don't want to rebuild. We've already built it. We want to reload. And I think with the freshmen we have coming in, they just have to, big shoes to fill. But at the same time, we're going to be different. I'm not ever going to replace Haley and Hayden, just like I'm never going to replace Tyra next year. But you just find a new way to do things great. Okay.
And speaking of freshmen, you have one, Makara Trainable, who's put up double-digit points in each game that you've had this season. When you hear that name, what do you feel like she's added to the team?
I think she adds a confidence. And the one other thing about her is she can play multiple positions. And I like the fact that she goes out there and she plays fearless, because that's kind of how Coach Anderson and I coach. We coach a little bit fearless. And, I always say there's a method to my madness. I'm a little bit crazy. And the fact that she goes out there and she just plays. She plays with an intensity and a passion that just really allows her teammates to rally around her. And she's not scared to take a shot. She's not scared to get a tip. And she's a phenomenal passer. I don't even think people have seen the amazingness of her passes yet, but that's definitely to come. So I just love her intensity and her mindset.
Now, to win against an NCAA Division I team, Tulsa to be exact, after coming back from a 13-point deficit, how does that feel?
I mean, it feels great, because I think a lot of people underestimated us this year. I mean, obviously when you lose 2 powerhouse players that are leaving here in the record books, and Haley and Hayden, I felt like there was a lot of doubt, and rightfully so, but I think that this team has really embraced what they're good at and have been able to elevate their game, and also to just, each of them do what they're good at, and that helps make us great. But just being able to beat a Division I team was amazing, and I love the fact that my team's never going to quit. That's not what we do. And for them to rally and continue to battle, I think when Tulsa got that lead, I think they relaxed a little bit. And my team likes to turn it up a notch when people relax or get a little bit tired. And that's just kind of what we do. We love to finish strong. We might not always start great, but finishing strong is very important.
Right. Now, when it comes to winning, you've changed the tradition here for women's basketball. Is there any type of pressure that you feel to continue winning year in and year out as a coach?
Of course. I mean, obviously, if you look at a lot of the coaches across America, you have to win to keep your job to a certain extent. But I always like to tell my players pressure's either felt or created. And, I don't like to feel it. I want to create it. And that's kind of what we want to do within our offense of playing so fast, and with our new defense, chaos. We want to make people uncomfortable. And that's kind of how I feel. And I'm super competitive, so, I don't necessarily want to feel the pressure. I want to put the pressure on everyone else.
Yes, ma'am. Now, are there any players you're looking to have a breakout season? Maddie Spurley, who's steady improving. You have a couple seniors. Could you just think of anyone?
I think that this is a kind of a defining moment in a sense for players like Bethany and Tyra and Taylor, who've been starting for a while but have kind of been in the shadows, and this is their moment to have a breakout season and just be the very best of them. I also expect a lot of great things from Maddie Spurley and Tabor Beer. I mean, they're upperclassmen now. They're not babies anymore, so they have to grow up real quick. And then, I think Makara has a chance to really, make her mark as a true freshman in our league. But then I think Lauren Ramey, no one really saw what Ramey could do. She got very limited minutes last year, but she's continued to believe and put in the time, and she's already had a couple of good games, but I really think that she's going to be able to surprise some people this year.
Yes, ma'am. And I see that was it 22 points that she scored last game?
And she went 7 for 7 from the field.
Wow, that's
pretty
crazy.
Good game.
Yes, ma'am. So are there any expectations as a coach for this upcoming season, or any new goals or anything?
Winning. That's part of what we do and kind of our, what we've established. But obviously we want to prove to people that even though we have lost, we've reloaded, and we definitely want to win and compete in this league this year. And I think that we're capable of doing that. But we still have high expectations and big goals for this team.
All right. Well, that'll be all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Coach, for allowing me to interview you.
Thank you.